take, 2 steps backward, 1 step forward. Instead, we did just the opposite, rising for the week. As you pointed out, it was the 6th best performance for the NASDAQ on a monthly basis. They just shrugged off the news on Novelis, for example, today.
Right. Well, it's good that, Jen, you're here to offset Kathleen's somewhat negative outlook, and Fred is sitting here just suspicious of the whole thing.
Down days this week. But you didn't get
So there was
well,
there's a positive point in the recession, and it really fits with the market doing better. And these two Fed guys, both of them saying they're looking for recovery, say, by spring, late spring at the latest. Once you know we're in a recession, it started in March, the average recession about a year. By March, we could be on our way out of it. The only question, I think, for the stock market is how strong will the recovery be? How high, how much momentum can the stock market gather? But it's not illogical at this point.
Triple?
Double? Oh, yeah.
Lou, Steve Milinovich of Merrill Lynch weighed in on this, saying that, he thinks computers and chips, the business for chip, the outlook for the chip sector and telecom equipment have sort of bottomed out, appears to be bottoming, but he says he's concerned because stocks have gotten way ahead of themselves, and the recovery, he thinks, will be modest.
All right. Well, let's turn to Wharton Business School finance professor Jeremy Siegel, who's going to tell us with absolute certainty precisely the answer to each one of these issues, fresh from the Philly Fed meeting, I understand. Jeremy, good to have you with us.
Good evening, Lou. I wish I could tell you the exact answer.
Well, thank you for being with us, Jeremy. We'll be back to you. At this point, the Fed has a lot of information, as Kathleen pointed out, to digest here, and that's just part of the information. What's your best guess as to what they'll do on December 11th?
I think they will move down. Their governors have been giving indications, the Fed presidents. We had those week reports that Kathleen mentioned. We have two more very important reports, the employment report again a week from today, and one more jobless claims. And I think that will clinch it one way. There still could even be a 50 basis point cut, which was almost ruled out completely just a week ago.
How much more influence does the Fed have here with these levers? I mean, they have taken it just about all the way, and we're still in recession.
That's true. If you call a 50 basis point cut a silver bullet, they have 4 silver bullets left, and people worry about when those bullets are gone. We were discussing at the Fed meeting today exactly that question, and there was a lot of support for saying, listen, the Fed could go into the bond market, it could buy other debt and continue to increase liquidity. They didn't think it was going to get this bad, but that we wouldn't be, out of ammunition even at zero.
What about the issue that Kathleen brought up, and that is lending? We're seeing every sign of constrictive lending with high liquidity and a far looser monetary policy. Sort that out for us.
Well, that's the reason why the Fed has to move down. What we see is the risk premium rising. So the Fed has to move down on its rates so that when the banks add that risk premium, they don't price out all the borrowers from the market. And that's a real reason for the Fed to be aggressive here.
And being aggressive, we've got an economic stimulus package the president says he would like to have sooner rather than later. No one is holding their breath at this point. Give us your best judgment of what's going to happen to the economy when we'll actually see recovery.
Well, it's interesting. 5 months after the bottom of the stock market, if September 21st holds, and it certainly looks that way now, is February. We were just talking about the average length of a recession is 11 months. And a few days ago, the NBER said March was the beginning. At 11 months, you also get February. So both of these measures are in agreement now, the middle of the first quarter. Now, some say that's aggressive. Some are now saying it might be a little bit further than that. But it's interesting that we have a correspondence on these two measures now.
It is interesting, and you and I were talking about that this summer when we thought that March and April were the lows of the year, so we can always get surprised and have an adjustment on that. But the Fed looks pretty smart here. If one assumes that the NBER is correct, that recession actually did begin in March, because with 10 interest rate cuts through this, they timed it very, very well.
But if you remember, and I remember being on your show in January, I said they have to be more aggressive, faster. I think the Fed has moved down. I think it would have been better if they moved down starting last December, and we got to where we were now by maybe June or July. But nonetheless, they're where they have to be and a little bit lower.
Jeremy, you're right. That was in January, and you were here on my show. It's just I hadn't quite joined my show at that point. Or rejoined.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
But delighted to be back with you. Jeremy, thanks very much.
Okay,
I want to
thank you,
ask
Lou.
one quick question as we wrap up here. These markets, I know you were concerned about how quickly they're moving. Can you tell us tonight, Jeremy Siegel is not concerned that it's all right for people to get a little excited about the markets?
What I think, we priced in the recovery, Lou. Normally, 25% in the 5 months following the bottom, and we've had about 20. So the bulk of the move has been made. It's going to be tougher sledding. But the developments look to me with low interest rates, the war going well, we've seen the bottom, the downside risks have diminished dramatically.
Terrific. I'll take that. Jeremy Siegel, as always, pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Lou.
Coming up next, typically a great source of Christmas cheer, New York City. We'll take a look at the spirit of the city this holiday season in the aftermath of September 11th. And the world mourns the loss of a musical great, George Harrison. Loses a long battle with cancer. We'll take a look at his life.
Next, Lou is joined by legendary music promoter Sid Bernstein.
About money. So now that my paintings are starting to sell, I'm planning to put mine with Fidelity Investments.
We have something called the Fidelity Funds Manager Program.
Basically, they'll manage a portfolio of mutual funds for me, according to my goals. If I'm going to let anyone manage my portfolio of mutual funds, it's going to be Fidelity. Let the people who know what they're doing do it.
Leave all the work and the worry to us.
And that's good, because I hate thinking about money.
Fidelity Funds Manager Program. To invest, call, click, or visit Fidelity.
Passion for the news, compassion for the story. Paula's on. Every weekday morning at 7 Eastern. You can depend on CNN.
Drive a nearly new car and save thousands off a new list price only at Gresham Ford. 65 of our own B rentals plus 240 others on sale now. That's GreshamFord.com, where we rent cars and trucks for $19 per day.
When you're looking to buy or sell a home, it's important to keep in touch with the local market. That's why you should tune in to the Coldwell Banker Barbara Seal Properties Tour of Homes show. You'll find local listings in a variety of shapes, sizes, and price ranges. And at Coldwell Banker, you'll find real estate professionals who work to achieve the perfect balance of needs for their clients. Look to the Coldwell Banker Tour of Homes show 7 days a week only on TV Mart, AT&T Cable Channel 15. Let us help you find your dream home.
Take glorious colors, exquisite designs, and thousands from which to choose, and you'll have a holiday rug event from Northwest Rugs fit for the season and all at reduced prices. Choose from a special assortment of rugs from around the world, in sizes from accent to room to runners to squares. No matter what rug is on your holiday list, the experts from Northwest Rugs will be delighted to help find it. Northwest Rugs, once a year holiday sale, Wilsonville, Tiger, Tannisbourne, and Jansen Beach.
If you wake up sore, stiff, with back, neck, or shoulder pain, wishing for a great night's sleep, call for this free Better Sleep and Gift Catalog featuring 3 free fabulous gifts. Choose a free camcorder, free digital camera, or free DVD player. Free with purchase of any select model Craftmatic 2 adjustable bed. To receive your free Better Sleep and Gift Catalog with free information on the adjustable bed that costs 50% less than many quality flatbeds, call now.
Call toll-free 1-800-577-3737. That's 1-800-577-3737. Call now.
Own this 2000 Ford Ranger 4-door for $7,000 off a new list, plus over 300 pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs priced to go. All credit applications will be accepted. Drive a nearly new car and save thousands off a new list price only at Gresham Ford.
Strikes back. Depend on CNN.
Many Americans have been outraged at the way some charities have distributed money raised after September 11th. With more than 800,000 charities, it is obviously difficult to determine which group deserves your support. Worth magazine has come out with a list of some of the nation's best and worst charities in its December issue, and we wanted to share that with you. Among the best, the World Wildlife Fund, UNICEF, the American Cancer Society, Habitat for Humanity, and Teach for America. Among those to avoid, the American Association of the Deaf-Blind, which uses 74% of its revenue for fundraising. AMVETS, Multiple Sclerosis Association of America, and the National Cancer Coalition. Well, the December issue of Worth magazine putting all of that in some perspective. The holiday season is here, of course, but in New York City it's taking on quite a different tone than in years past, as festivities and traditions hold new meaning for New Yorkers this Christmas. Kitty Pilgrim has the story.
Yes, the parties are still going on, and the celebrities are still attending. But somehow this year, it's different.
The mood is very different here in New York for the holiday season. I think that it's kind of beautiful that people are more thankful about the more simple things.
Just the basics, champagne and caviar. But seriously, New York is struggling for just the right tone of keeping spirits up without seeming too frivolous. The decision to go on with the party, now a moral dilemma.
For a long time, there were no parties. The parties were cancelled. I think we're just beginning to recover. Of course, fall is the traditional party season here in New York, and I think there's a sense of things slowly getting back to normal.
All proving without a doubt that the indomitable spirit of New York, combined with holiday cheer, is pretty hard to beat. The Christmas show at Radio City still kicking. It's good family fun and in the best of taste. Retailers are trying to be sensitive. Barney's traditionally over-the-top Christmas windows, this year toned down.
Everybody in New York who's involved in marketing is struggling to establish the right tone with everything they do, every ad, every store window.
Mayor Giuliani fills one of Barney's windows this year on Madison Avenue. And the mayor in person has helped launch the festivities. The champagne economy is a major employer in New York. The desire to get back out there and live life almost seen as a patriotic and economic duty. So let the air kisses continue and the cash registers ring. Let Christmas come in with an ice storm and let them eat canapes. Well, it's too soon to tell what the ultimate commercial and catering numbers will be on the holiday season. But Radio City tells us that ticket sales were very slow in the weeks following September 11th, but have since approached normal levels. Lou?
Approaching a festive holiday season. Kitty, thank you very much. Kitty Pilgrim. Well, despite several federal lawsuits, tech firm Sonic Blue has decided to ship its latest personal video recorders. Networks, television networks, fear its ability to wipe out commercials, and the movie studios are worried about its ability to transmit video over the internet. Steve Young has the story.
Sonic Blue considers its latest Replay personal video recorder, which uses a computer-like hard drive, the ultimate consumer convenience. But its media opponents say the PVR has unprecedented tools to violate copyrights and destroy the network TV ad business. The number one beef, Replay TV's new auto skip that lets owners play back a recorded show minus all the commercials at the push of a single button.
This clearly is the product that the networks and studios don't want the consumer to own because it makes TV so good that it scares them, that it moves control to the consumers, and that's what this is all about.
The new hardware has triggered federal suits from the likes of Paramount, Disney, NBC, Viacom, CBS, and AOL Time Warner. Ironically, some of the plaintiffs were previous investors in Replay or its competitor TiVo. The networks were trying to influence advertising threats, including video cassette recorders, even remote controls. They're starting to fight back now with different kinds of ads.
One approach they're taking is to use interactive TV advertising to deliver commercials that are more relevant to people, using targeting, so that if you're in the market for a car, you'll see more car ads, and they're of more interest to you as a viewer when you're in the market.
Hollywood is frantic about the Send Show feature. It's a way to make perfect digital copies of movies and distribute them over the internet through high-speed connections.
The company insists it's not another Napster. It claims it's acting responsibly because owners can only send a maximum of 15 copies. Recipients can't pass them on. Lou?
That's an interesting issue, a limited Napster, in other words. But the copyright issues are, it seems, rather clear there, aren't they?
Very alive. Only about 900,000 of these PVRs, but there's one projection, if you believe these things, personal video recorder. One projection that there'll be, if you can believe this, 45 million by 2006.
Well, I have to say I'm not sure I do believe it. But thanks for the estimate anyway. Steve, thanks a lot. Interesting story, Steve Young. Well, now an update to a story we brought you earlier this week. Malden Mills has filed for bankruptcy. Malden Mills made headlines back in 1995 when its CEO, Aaron Purstein, decided to keep all of his employees on the payroll while recovering from a fire. The act of that generosity cost the company $25 million, about the same amount it's now borrowing for its reorganization in bankruptcy. The company continues to operate during its restructuring. George Harrison's death at age 58 leaves Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr as the only two surviving Beatles. As part of the Beatles, Harrison and his lead guitar helped rocket the group to phenomenal artistic and financial success. The Beatles, as a group, spawned a song publishing company, a record company, a movie company, a clothing boutique, and on his own, George Harrison had a similar line of companies. His handmade films, behind such movies as Monty Python's Life of Brian and Madonna's Shanghai Surprise. But for most fans, the legacy of George Harrison is unquestionably his music. Well, the scene tonight at Strawberry Fields in New York Central Park, it's right across the street from John Lennon's old apartment. These are live pictures, and it has for the most of this day been a gathering place for fans of the Beatles and George Harrison. And joining us now is the man who first brought the Beatles to America. His name is Sid Bernstein. Mr. Bernstein, one of the greatest rock promoters ever. The list of bands and artists he's promoted reads like an entertainment who's who. That's because it is an entertainment who's who. Judy Garland, the Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, Frank Sinatra, and a lot more. And of course, the Beatles. Sid's the man who brought the Beatles to America nearly 40 years ago and joins us here. Sid, great to have you here. I know that, like everyone, losing George Harrison is a tragic moment, and it gives you room for thought, but I also want to take you back, if I may, to February 12th, 1964. What made you think of bringing the Beatles to America?
I hadn't heard a note of their music. This will surprise you and your listeners. But I had been reading about them in the English newspapers. As a GI, I used to read the daily newspapers when time allowed, and I continued that habit long after I got discharged and came back home to New York. And then I was reading about this young group in the British newspapers, and it just spread like a prairie wildfire.
Right. In England?
And I had not heard their music, but I'd been reading about what they were doing in terms of entertaining the youngsters, exciting the youngsters, winning friends wherever they played in Liverpool and then the rest of England. And
so you picked up the phone and you called Brian Epstein, their manager, just out of the blue.
Right. And I gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
How big an offer?
In those days, it was considered a fairly big offer. He told me he was getting the equivalent of $2,000 for every date he was playing in England in the music halls, meaning the vaudeville houses, the theaters of England, average capacity about 1,800 people. I offered him $6,500 for 2 shows at Carnegie Hall. I don't know where I came up with that figure.
Obviously, there's a little margin built into it, one would think.
But in my book, I tell the complete story. And that book it's Sid Bernstein.
Sid Bernstein Calling, right.
And that was probably the most important call I'd made in my life up until then.
You were also the first person to put a rock group in a stadium.
Yes.
You put the Beatles in, what, twice at Shea? Was it?
After Carnegie Hall, a year later, I went from 2,830 seats at Carnegie Hall to 55,000 seats at Shea Stadium.
You got fabulously wealthy off the Fab Four, right?
No, not really. But it took me out of the East Bronx, where I grew up, down to a very nice apartment in Greenwich Village, and to help me educate 6 of my kids.
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you, and I'm glad you had the thought. You know, have you ever thought about the fact that they might not have come here if you hadn't picked up that phone?
No. I believe somehow they would have come here. I think the only difference that I made was that I brought them to Carnegie Hall. That was unheard of at that time.
How upset were the people at Carnegie Hall?
Quite upset. Well, you obviously read my book.
Well,
the lady who allowed me to sign a contract and bring him in, when she asked me, what are they like, Mr. Bernstein? I said, they're a phenomenon in Great Britain. And I meant that. That's what I've been reading.
And you read it right, and you read the future right and I'm going to have to do this. Sid, I hate to do it. We are out of time. I want you to come back and we'll talk some more.
I'd love to.
You're terrific. Sid Bernstein, the man who brought the Beatles to America on a handshake, basically, with Brian Epstein.
Just this
We'll
way.
do it again.
But we did that handshake on the phone.
You got it?
Yes.
Technology is marvelous. I'm glad I'm not having to write that check. But on the other hand, I kind of wish I were underwriting a group like the Beatles. Wolf Blitzer Reports begins in just a few minutes. Let's go to Wolf. Wolf, I know you didn't think I'd ever get to you, but here we are.
I knew you would, and I'll give you a handshake whenever you want. Thank you very much, Lou. The Defense Secretary, Donald Rumsfeld, speaks out about the next steps in the war against terrorism. For the first time, he differentiates between Iran and Iraq. We'll go live to the Pentagon for details. Also, we'll hear from CNN's Christiane Amanpour, who's following the latest developments in Afghanistan. In our CNN War Room tonight, we'll get 3 perspectives on what's ahead. That's all coming up next. Lou.
Sid right there. Good to have you here. Wolf, thank you.
Thank you.
Just ahead, we'll take a look at your emails and take a look at what to expect next week. Stay with us. Thank you.
Solutions others can't. Credit Suisse First Boston.
Tonight, the WB is comedy. Reba's daughter's expecting, but she wasn't expecting this.
Ew! Oh! If only you'd read that a couple of months ago.
The hit comedy Reba. Then Bob Saget is clever and perfect.
Dad?
Unless you're his daughter.
I'm just trying to help by making things worse. It's what I do.
Raising Dad after Reba. That's comedy. It's all tonight on the WB Friday.
Christiane Amanpour reports live on the hunt for bin Laden, the military campaign, and the fate of the Afghan people. Live from Afghanistan, 8 Eastern on CNN tonight.
He's the world's most wanted man. If captured, what should Osama bin Laden's fate be? Heated debate, Court TV's Nancy Grace, Julian Epstein, and others. Tonight, 9 Eastern on Larry King Live. You can depend on CNN.
As the war against terrorism continues, log on to CNN.com to find out what's happening now. Get up to the minute on-the-scene reports from CNN correspondents in the field. Go behind the headlines and get the full story with detailed maps, photo galleries, and interactive 3D models. Plus, be the first to know when news breaks with CNN email alerts. Get everything you need to know when you want it at CNN.com.
As the war on terror rages, what do our nation's young women have to say about the conflict? Will they serve or stay home? Their answers will surprise you. On The Point, 8:30 Eastern. You can depend on CNN tonight.
Turn to CNN Headline News to keep an eye on the future with updates on America's new war, while you focus on today with the latest in business, technology, weather, and sports. CNN Headline News. News 24/7.
Depend on CNN.
Next week, we'll have the employment report for November. It'll be released Friday. Leading up to that, we have the National Association of Purchasing Managers Index, productivity, factory orders, personal income spending, as well as construction spending, so investors have a lot to look forward to. Taking a look at some of your thoughts, Sid writing in with a note on Enron management. Thank you, he writes, for the excellent communication on the demise of our investment as shareholders and for the biggest and best con job on the global investment community. end quote. I believe he is being a little facetious. And finally, something about the name Enron that you might know. We certainly didn't hear. Dr. Lee Schlichtenmeyer in Plano, Texas, wrote in to point out when Enron renamed itself several years ago, the original transformation name was Enteron. My Dorland's Medical Dictionary defines Enteron, the doctor writes, as a gut or intestine. Isn't it ironic, he writes, how appropriate that name would have been, a hollow tube filled with hot air, and we chose not to finish the good doctor's thoughts on that one. That's Moneyline for this evening and for this week. We thank you for being with us. I'm Lou Dobbs. Have a very pleasant weekend. Good night from New York. Wolf Blitzer Reports begins right now.